This is a video update for the group that owns Fetiche de Rouges. Hello everyone, we took Radish to Montreal, Canada, up to Bromont 3-day event to contest the 4-star short. We had basically one of the best results of the year with Radish. This is one of the strongest courses in North America, and it was sort of a competition I've been aiming for pretty much all year, and he performed really well in all three phases. We got up there early. We got up there on Tuesday, and then the trot up was Wednesday, and then you're seeing the dressage on Friday. Radish did a pretty good dressage test. It wasn't our best test. Our last big competition was at Tryon, and he did I think he got a 29 in the dressage in the 4-star, and I didn't quite have him as soft and as loose as I did at Tryon, and I really made a mess of our first flying change. In hindsight, Radish has been a bit of a wild, spooky horse in the dressage, and over the years I've sort of had this ritual of working him pretty hard to take a bit of the nervous energy out of him, and we also can give him some supplements to make him nice and quiet and relaxed. And I think now we're at a place with Radish that we don't have to zone him out so much. He was actually a little bit empty by the time I did the dressage, and he was not spooky or fresh or nervous at all, and he was actually a tiny bit behind my leg. Saying that, we still got pretty good scores. What you're seeing here, the beginning of the trot work was all 7.5s and 7s, and then the half pass here, I think the judges said that he needed to have just a little bit more suppleness, and that went down to a 6.5. But like I said, sometimes if I can trust Radish, he actually shows off and presents really well. And when I say trust him, I think at the next big competition I'm going to have him a little bit fresher, and so he's going to be a tiny little bit more enthusiastic in the dressage. And at Bromont here, I just had him a little bit too dull, and other than a diabolical flying change that you'll see in a minute, he was almost a little bit too quiet. But I say in that, we've had a lot of dressage tests over the years where Radish has been a little bit electric and over the top. I think I've always got to take into account of when we get to the show. A lot of the shows we get there the day of the dressage or just the day before the dressage, where at Bromont here we had a couple of days to work him in and get him relaxed, and I got him to work him in this arena, so I've got to try and keep that in the back of my mind. Anyway, we finished in 4th place after the dressage. It wasn't a big field of horses. I think there was 8 or 9 horses in it. By saying that, there was a couple of good ones. There was Philip's second best horse, Denham, was in it, and then Jess Phoenix, the horse that she's taking to the WEG, was in it, the World Championship. So there was some pretty stiff company. As we develop a bit, I want to sort of get to the place where I can really ride him in the dressage and go for it, and I'm still just a tiny bit tentative. As I've said to you over and over again, Radish is he's a champion horse with amazing amounts of talent. One of our biggest sort of challenges with him is he's a bit of can be a bit difficult now and then. Now with this flying change, I think it was rider error. I almost took my leg off a bit here, trying to prepare for the flying change, and then I put my spur on, and it just freaked him out and spooked him. And it's a shame actually, because I didn't miss one of my flying changes. The whole week when I was training him. Like, he's got perfect flying changes, and if you can think back to Tryon, we got 8s for our flying changes. So sadly, the judges gave us a very generous 4.5 for that flying change, which really sort of screws up your score. I think this was our second flying change, and he was a lot better then. So not a great test, but not a bad test. We got a 34.7, which I think it was about 66%. So obviously my goal with Radish is to always have him around 70%. He's still getting stronger too, like you can see in the canter halts there, he sort of staggers into it a bit. Our main reason for this big trip was the cross country. Bromont is one of the biggest, most challenging cross country courses out there, and on top of that, Radish has been a little bit of a handful at his last two competitions. So I gave him a ride in the morning, and I was Bromont's a great event where you can sort of ride him down close to fence 3 and 4. So I got up in the morning and I actually rode him down the course, beside the course where we were going to start. And as you know, with Radish, he can be a bit nappy and a bit silly early on in the track. So I didn't trust him. I had my sort of spurs into him, and I was growling at him these first couple jumps. The problem with that technique is that it makes him a little bit too aggressive at the jumps, and you'll see me sort of fighting with his mouth a little bit. We're about at fence 5 now. This is a big fence. It looks like nothing on the video there, but it was nearly a 5-star fence, and this was the first combination. And by now Radish has sort of passed the area of the course where I'm suspicious of him being naughty, and my goal from this part on was just to try and get him relaxed and get him into a nice rhythm. Radish is he's brave as a lion, too brave, and these are big jumps. So once he gets his eye on the fence, he's going for it. This is the coffin fence, which is one of the toughest fences on the course, and he's sort of charging in at it. Jumped it well. And about now you'll sort of see the gallop that I always talk about with Radish, and it was beautiful footing there. They had a ton of rain, so the ground was quite wet and heavy, and I let him roar up this hill, and he's a fantastic galloper. The biggest challenge we've got, guys, is keeping him relaxed or thinking between the fences. I will say, even though this is not a perfect round, it is getting better. This is my only regretful jump. I ended up doing 6 strides instead of 5, and then 3 short strides instead of 2 strides, and I wish I had my time over again there, just because I feel like at this point in the course I could let him at it a bit, and he would have done the number of strides that I intended. And I unfortunately fell into a bit of a pulling match. Anyway, he did well. This is a very, very big technical course, and wiped out nearly half the field, and it was good having a good clear round on probably the toughest course that we've ever had with Radish. And one thing about him, he's very exuberant. Once he locks his ears onto the jump, it's a matter of trying to keep him balanced. And slowly but surely, my goal is to have it where I'm not fighting with his mouth on the way to the jump. And it's a work in progress. About this part of the course, most of the other horses in the field are starting to look pretty tired and empty, and our horse is still charging at the jumps. And I was laughing with a couple of the Radish syndicate that came up to cheer us on, that I wish I could actually go around again, because even in the late stages of the track here, Radish is still full of energy. And that's after a 40-minute ride in the morning. So eventually we'll, when we get to the big 5 stars, it's going to be a great attribute, his vigour. Guys, this is a pretty hard run on Radish. It's a big track, big jumps. It was deep, soggy ground because of all the rain. And so anyway, I'm thinking of giving the horse 10 days rest after this competition. I'm actually competing another horse at Le Moulin 5-star next week, and I think Radish has worked really, really hard so far in the first half of the year, and I think it'd be good for his body just to ease off him a bit and give him about a 10-day, 2-week spell and let him freshen up, and we'll gear him up for some more 4-stars and probably a 4-star long at the Malvern Park 3-day event at the end of the year. So this is Sunday morning, torrential rain all night at the jog up, and we had to do the health inspection for the vets, and Radish, he was a little bit stiff and body sore. I gave him a little bit of flat work really early in the morning, just to loosen him up, and then also I think it's good for him just to do a bit of collected canter before the show jumping, just because he's on sort of cross-country mode a bit. And very fortunate, our show jumping coach Peter Wild made the trip up to Bromont to give me a hand with the show jumping, and having Peter in my corner is a wonderful advantage, just because he's ridden Radish a lot and he knows sort of his quirks. And Radish was the only one to jump a clear round in the 4-star short, so we were in 3rd place after the cross country, and then we moved up to 2nd place after this round of show jumping. Like the cross country, it wasn't a perfect round, but you know, like he got a little bit feisty between the jumps, especially towards the end of the course. But Radish is a super careful jumper and very, very good technique, and he is he really will turn himself inside out not to touch the jumps. And he's actually one of the very few horses that is much better show jumping after you do the cross country, and it's a great sign of a champion horse, just because at the big championships, the 5-stars and the Olympics, etc., the show jumping always comes last, and riding a slightly tired Radish around the show jumping is much easier than riding a fresh Radish. So we're very, very pleased with the way he jumped, and again, we've just got to sort of work on our balance and control. Anyway, we're on our way back to the United States. 2nd place in a 4-star shorts for sure. His best result for a long, long time. Very pleased. A lot of hard work's gone into the Flying Frenchman, but I feel like we're getting somewhere. He's obviously been a fair bit of work, but he's one of these horses that just oozes with talent and high quality. Just be nice if he settled down a little bit. Anyway, I love him to bits, and very, very pleased with our 2nd place finish in the 4-star short.
I wonder if Sue's disappointed that her jump's not coming down.